Welcome back, everybody, to the Dragon's Lair. My name is Wade, and this is my show, Let's Talk, where we talk about Warhammer. Today I want to show you a Death Leaper. Death Leapers are really cool, in my opinion. They recently, within the last, 6 months, a year, got a new model, which is really hot. And they just have a lot of great abilities, especially for if you're going to play in, tournament level things. They have really great abilities. Let's go right ahead and talk about it. I want to remind everybody when I talk about these Tyranid units, let's look at it through the lens of Invasion Fleet. I like Invasion Fleet the most. I think it's got the tools to get the job done. And so when I talk about units, I'm going to talk to you as if I'm playing Invasion Fleet. Stat line, 8 movement, pretty good. I like tough 6, that's pretty good. It protects you from, a lot of weapons. 3+ save is okay. 4+ invulnerable is where the bread and butter is. 7 wounds is pretty good. Leadership 7, odds are he's not going to be in Synapse. So leadership 7 is pretty good. The OC 1 is kind of unfortunate because the Death Leaper, in my opinion, is meant to be a harassment model. He's meant to get in the back, harass your enemy, maybe take advantage of weaknesses on the sides. He's not tough as a Carnifex. He's not doesn't have a ton of wounds like a Tyranids or something like that. So you got to be careful with him. And that's why his special abilities are really important. So we already know he's got the 4+ invulnerable, so cool on that. That's definitely going to help him in a lot of situations. And that tough 6 is going to help you, from a lot of strength 4 weapons and strength 5 weapons. But it's his lone operative. So keep in mind with lone operative, if they're more than 12 inches away from him, they can't shoot him. They can't target him if they're more than 12 away. So use that in your movement. Then stealth, if they are shooting him, they get -1 to hit, which -1 to hit is pretty good. Keep in mind things don't stack past -1 or +1. If you are at -1 and something gives you a +1, it brings you up to 0. Something else gives you a +1, it brings you up to +1. But you can't go to +2, you can't go to +3, just like you can't go to -3 or -2 or whatever. It's either +1 or -1. Anyways, so lone operative, you can't shoot at him from more than 12 inches away. Stealth, if you can shoot at him, it's -1 to hit. Pretty good. Excuse me. Infiltrators is pretty good. So in deployment, he can deploy anywhere that is 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone. So with the Death Leaper, a lot of times in tournament play, you're putting them on the left flank or the right flank to grab an objective or to threaten an objective, to lure your enemy. Death Leapers are a special type of lictor, and lictors are all about mind games. It's all about the mind games. So then go into Synapse. All that means there, remember, is that he benefits from Synapse. He does not give Synapse. And I can see how that can be a very easy mistake to make because it's under abilities, Synapse, right? But no. So if you have the word Synapse in the keywords down there, I always point wrong. Anyways, down at the bottom. Here, down at the bottom. Anyways, that's where if you have Synapse in the keywords, they give Synapse. So he benefits from Synapse. Keep this one in mind, Feeder Tendrils. Each time the model destroys an enemy character model, you gain 1 CP. That can be pretty good. Also keep in mind you can't gain more than 1 CP during a turn. So you get your 1 CP for it being your turn or your opponent's turn. And then if you gain 1 CP from this, you can't gain any more. So wait, what's a situation where that could happen? Okay, so if you gain your 1 CP for it being your turn, let's say, and you gain your 1 CP for having the Swarm Lord, you can't gain a CP from this. you're capped out. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's another reason why I'm running regular Tyrants, well, walking Tyrants, because of that 1 CP gain. Fear of the Unseen is pretty cool. When an enemy unit within 6 inches of this model, worsen the leadership characteristic of models in that unit by 1. In addition, in the Battle Shock step of your opponent's command phase, if such an enemy unit is below starting strength, it must take a Battle Shock test. So this is actually cool for you, are in the back line. Somebody has got, 10 guardsmen holding a objective, okay? So you run that Death Leaper in there, and that Death Leaper is going to cause them to take Battle Shock tests and is going to hurt their leadership score. He's particularly good against the light infantry. So if you're looking at it over there with the melee weapons, Lictor Claws and Talons, it's got precision, which is cool. But 6 attacks is not bad. Hitting on 2+ is really good. Strength 7, is good even against elite infantry. AP2 is good now. AP2 is good now. 2 damage. So he can kill regular Marines with that 2 damage and that strength 7. He can do it, but he's gonna shred things like fire warriors and guardsmen and no longer orc boys, but maybe aspect warriors. Any light infantry. I don't want to say basic infantry because Space Marine basic infantry, I mean, is going to be 3s to wound it there, and is going to force a pretty decent save. But you're going to kill anything that doesn't save outright. So you'd be able to hurt a 5-man or a 10-man Marines, but you're going to shred light infantry like guardsmen and fire warriors and stuff like that. So, I'm a big firm believer in use the models for what they're good at. And that kind of comes from the art of war. Fight the enemy where they are not. Okay, so, a Screamer Killer with strength 10 attacks is going to be a lot better at taking out a Dreadnought than the Death Leaper is. It's at that point, it's not quite anti-vehicle, but it's one of the closest things we got. So my advice to you is use units for what they're good at. This unit is great for harassment. You move them in, you move them out. You move them in, you move them out. You deploy with your infiltration, and maybe you get to stand on an objective. If they're just going to leave an objective, like on the far left or the far right, wide open, go take that thing. Go take that thing and stand on it and make fun of them for making such a poor choice. Looking at invasion fleet wise, I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot stratagem wise that invasion fleet is going to be useful for. Rapid regeneration, I'll sing rapid regeneration's praises all day long. Keep in mind with that precision, you can run into a squad and pick the librarian out. You can run into the squad and pick that, whatever you want to call the chaplain, the librarian, whatever they got. You can run in there and pick that out. In the tournament that I played recently, he got squished. But the point is he drew something out to the far left or to the far right that was no longer a part of the rest of the battle to squish him. I made someone else use a unit to go chase after him. And that unit was not holding down another objective. That unit was not participating in the big fight with all my monsters and my monster ball. So, he's very useful for that, and I like him and I appreciate him for that. Death Leaper is a epic hero, so remember he can't get any enhancements, but that's okay. I think Death Leaper is really cool. If you run him in Vanguard, he can be your warlord, and then keep in mind if you run him in Vanguard, he can advance and charge. Super good. Vanguard is super good for that. He can advance and charge, and then he could even fall back and charge in Vanguard. So that's another great thing. In the end, I love the Death Leaper. It was hard to put together. I'm not gonna lie. My Death Leaper is modded a little bit because I couldn't get him to stand right, but it's not very much. But in the end, I like him. Can't wait till mine's painted. I'm working on it. We here at the Dragon's Lair understand that you could spend your time anywhere on the internet, so we want to say thank you for spending your time here with us at the Dragon's Lair.